React started as a very simple idea. Describe your UI and React will handle the rest. But today it feels different. What has changed? Let's break it down version by version. Before React, front-end development was very difficult. I was happy to work with jQuery and Backbone, and we manually updated the DOM and tried to keep everything in sync. You click a button, you change something in the DOM, and then something else breaks unexpectedly. As applications grew, the code became harder and harder to maintain. There was quite difficult to maintain clear structure, no predictable way to manage the UI. And that was the problem that React tried to solve. React actually started as an internal project at Facebook. At that time, Facebook was growing fast and the UI was getting harder to manage. One of the biggest problems was dynamic interfaces, especially things like news feeds and ads. Every small change in the UI could affect something else, and engineers had to manually keep everything in sync. It became slow, buggy, and hard to scale. At this moment, one of the engineers at Facebook, Jordan Walke, started experimenting with different idea. What if instead of directly updating the DOM, we will describe what the UI should look like, and the system will take care of updating it. That idea became React. In the early version of React, there was no JSX, and it was needed to write a code with usage of React create element, create class, and it was not that readable and understandable how it is right now. Then JSX was introduced, and that changed everything. Suddenly, writing UI felt natural, and the idea behind React was simple but powerful. UI is a function of state. Instead of manually updating the DOM, you describe how UI should look, and React takes care of it. This introduced a few key concepts. JSX, writing UI inside JavaScript, components, reusable building blocks, and virtual DOM. It wasn't perfect, but it was a huge step forward. Then came React 16, and this was a major shift. React introduced a new rendering engine, Fiber. Before Fiber, rendering was synchronous. That means that React would block the main thread. With Fiber, React became much smarter. It could pause work, prioritize updates, and handle complex UIs more efficiently. This was the moment React started becoming more than just a simple library. During this time and before hooks, React developers were trying to solve one big problem: how to reuse logic between components. In the early days, there were mixins. They allowed sharing logic, but quickly became hard to manage, so the community moved on. Then came high-order components, a function that takes a component and returns a new one. This was powerful, but over time it introduced new problems. Deep component trees, wrapper hell, and debugging became much harder. To solve that, developers introduced render props. Instead of wrapping components, you pass a function. This gave more control, but made JSX harder to read, and then hooks arrived and replaced all of these problems. Instead of wrapping components or passing functions, you just extract logic into a hook. Hooks didn't just add new feature. They simplified how we think about reusing logic. With React 18, things become even more interesting. React introduced concurrent rendering. Now React doesn't just render, it decides when and what to render. Features like use transition, suspense, streaming rendering, all of this makes app feel faster and smoother. But under the hood, it's much more complex. Today, React is not just a library. It's an entire ecosystem. Frameworks like Next.js bring server-side rendering and full-stack capabilities. React Native lets you build mobile and desktop applications using same concepts. State management, routing, data fetching, everything is built around React. At this point, React is closer to a platform than to a library. React is still evolving, and today it is moving into an interesting direction. Now we have things like server components, optimizing and moving logic from the client to the server, streaming, rendering UI step by step, and better performance optimizations out of the box. And one of the most interesting things right now is the React compiler. Today, developers still have to think about performance manually. React memo, use callback, avoiding unnecessary re-renders. But what if you didn't have to? The idea behind React compiler is that you write a simple code and React automatically optimizes it for you. No manual memorization, no overthinking performance. This could remove a lot of complexity and bring React closer to its original idea. JS described your UI. And at the same time, we see a strong integration with AI. AI is not longer just something you integrate into your app. It becomes a part of UI itself. You have chat interfaces, AI assistants, real-time suggestions, all built with React. Tools like Vercel AI SDK makes it easier to build streaming AI experiences directly in React. And this introduces new patterns. Streaming responses, partial rendering, real-time updates. React fits perfectly there, because it was designed for dynamic UIs from the beginning. But AI also increases complexity. Now your UI is not just state-driven, it's also model-driven. You are not only managing data, you are managing uncertainty. This is a completely new layer of complexity. And again, React is evolving to handle that. So now React is solving a new kind of problem, not just rendering UI, but rendering intelligent dynamic systems. And if you understand how React evolved, you understand where it's going. Now you know that React didn't become popular by accident. It evolved step by step. Each version solved real problems developers were facing. From manual DOM updates to components to hooks to intelligent systems. And if you look at this journey, you start to see a pattern. React keeps getting more powerful, but at the same time, it's trying to become simpler again. And maybe that's the most important idea behind React. It's not about memorizing APIs or learning every new feature. It's about understanding the mindset. Describe your UI and let the system handle the rest. And once you understand that, React starts to make a lot more sense. Thanks for watching. If it helped you see React differently, that's exactly the point. Subscribe if you want to understand React. Thanks.